Welcome, everyone, to a Barroom Network special report. Of course, here we are. White Sox pitcher Carlos Rodon throws a no-hitter, what should have been a perfect game. Thank you for joining us. We're here with an emergency edition of the show, and we have a special guest with us as well. I have my usual crew here, and Steven Zimmerman, Chris Gonzalez, and of course, we got Vinny Parisi, also from the Barroom Network. Talking Blackhawks, talking baseball all the time. Vinny, thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you guys for having me. Special occasion, special times.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're just, man, it's hard to believe that this game went by as fast as it did and it had the outcome that it did. But I think we all got to talk about the controversial moment at the end because I feel like we got to talk about it. It's at the tip of the tongue. We were talking about it before we went live. Should be a perfect game. Gentlemen, we got to talk about baseball, acumen, baseball, unwritten rules, right? Steven Zimmerman, I see you staring in the distance. I know you are upset about this. Talk to me about Perez and not getting out of the way of that slider.
As a former player, I have been no hit. And the last way that you want to find a way to get on base is to get hit. And that's a Bush League move. That's not how a professional should play the game. If he wants to get on base, then he needs to step in that box mano a mano with that pitcher and get on base. Making no attempt to get out of the way of the ball just to ruin a perfect game is it's horse shit. I'm not gonna pussyfoot around it. It's a horrible move. It's a classless move. And frankly, I expect that since Perez wanted to get hit so badly tonight, the catcher should be calling for him to get hit the rest of the series.
Wow, very bold. I like it, Zim. Chris Gonzalez, you umpire games, obviously not the major league level, but from an umpire standpoint, how do you feel about this?
Well, I have had a no-hitter ruined in the last game of one of my outings, and throughout the game I'd be, just tightening the zone, making the pitcher work for it. And I'm a pitcher guy to begin with, so I was making this kid work, and he just lost it with a hit in that game. But for this game, I'm just as pissed as Zim was there. I do kind of want to bring up a focal point of that might be a difference between Collins catching and Grandal, the veteran, with pitch selection in that moment. I don't think I think that's the rookie asking for a wipeout slider in that pitch count for where it was at, where it didn't really need to be in that situation. But that's just hindsight, and as terrible of an outcome of a wasted perfect game as that was, you just hate to see it, guys. But he gets the no-hitter, so it's it's a special moment. And
I know it's still a special moment. It just, man, does it feel totally different than it, one stupid pitch away. I mean, Vinny, you look at this replay. How do you not step out of the way? I mean, what's going through your mind when you're watching this?
I mean, have some class, Perez. Play the game the way everyone wants to see baseball be played. No one wants to see you stub your toe to get on base in a Wednesday night game where you're getting killed 8-0. Get out of the way. Get on base the way you should get on base in this situation. We get it. You don't want to be no hit. That sucks. But just to stand there and let it hit you, that's some Wilson Contreras type shit. Seriously, it's just so annoying. And you want to be so happy for Carlos Rodon that he got the no-hitter because that's what I'm trying to focus on. But, man, would a perfect game have been sweet.
It would. And Larry Golden, Roberto Perez needs some old school treatment. We were just talking about that. Gentlemen, do you think he gets doinked tomorrow? He has to, right?
Yes.
Is it going to be Lance Lynn on the mound?
Yeah, Lance Lynn's on the mound. So
Lance Lynn, he's kind of an attitude-y dude. I could see him putting some beef behind a throw and really throwing it at him. I would.
Yeah, but I do think Gonzo is onto a good point here, though, with the call of the slider. If you have Grandal back there, you got to imagine he calls something that doesn't even have the opportunity to clip him there. What do you guys think about that? I mean, Gonzo, I know you were just talking about it. I don't know why I'm tossing it back to you. I'm looking at Zim and I said Gonzo. Zim, what do you think about the pitch selection there?
As a former catcher myself, it's a pitch I would have called. Granted, I didn't make it much above, I guess, where I would have played would be considered low A. It was basically rec league ball. It was not very competitive at that level, but at the same time, that's the pitch I would have called. His slider was on. He was putting it where he wanted it, and he was throwing it in the dirt and getting guys to swing and miss on it in the dirt. And that's the thing. That slider was working. The catcher was Collins, that is, was prepared to go down and block it. He knew exactly what he was asking for. And, all I think he was trying to do is to back him off the plate a little bit while also giving him that he had a chance to swing at. Not that he was going to swing at, but regardless, the batter can see, a professional batter can see a slider coming a mile away. There's a little red dot that you get in the middle of the ball. He saw that coming. He knew what pitch it was, and he knew where it was headed. So, regardless, I completely agree with the pitch call. I understand why a more veteran catcher might not make that call. A changeup low and away probably would have gotten the job done as well. I'll give him that, but his slider was on tonight.
Yeah, we got a great comment, and real quick, Gonzo, we got a great comment in the chat from Luke Yakic 37. He says the pitch call definitely works there. Just unfortunate it got away from him. That's his money pitch. I think that's a good point too. Carlos, everything was working all night, but just think about it. I mean, that is his money pitch at the end of the day, but it's just hard to see it happen that way. It kind of guts you. But I tell you what, though, the offense got off blazing at the top of this game. And I think, we have to talk for a second, even though this is Carlos's night. Yermin Mercedes just continues to rake the ball. Another moonshot from Yermin. Vinny, is Yermin for real in this spot? Do you think he can be the DH all year long?
It's hard to say he can't, because anytime you think he might regress to the mean, like obviously he's not going to hit 500. But
right.
But after all this time, he's been hitting for so long in the minor leagues, and he's put in the work, and he's 2 good spring trainings in a row. And you wonder what would have happened last year had there not been a pandemic for him. And he made the team because Eloy got hurt, and he's taken that opportunity and run with it. And I think Steve Stone said it. It was either him or Benetti earlier in the game before it was clear that Rodon was onto something. He has to prove that he can't hit before they should start thinking that he should not be an everyday player. Because as of right now, he's an everyday guy for me. If you're trying to put in the best 9, it's Mercedes for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I know we've been talking about this in detail. Yermin's got to stay in the lineup, and I think Tony's definitely onto something there. I know the defense can take a shot in the arm when we get Engel back, but I don't think Yermin's going anywhere in this lineup. Zim and Gonzo, what are you thinking about? I can't even talk right now. I'm just totally entranced. I'm looking at the Big Hurt staring at me talking about a no-hitter. I apologize, guys. He's got those deep blue eyes that just entrance you. But anyway, getting back to the topic of conversation, Steven Zimmerman, Yermin Mercedes, and this offense tonight. I placed a very nice bet before this game that I won. I bet the over, and then I bet the Sox plus 1.5 parlayed. So I won. Anyway, that's beside the point. Gonzo, what do you think about this?
About the DH with Yermin, or
just the offense being on fire?
Being on fire.
I'm a little excited, if you can tell.
No, we definitely need this. I mean, I felt good about the over when you were telling me the bet earlier, but I just didn't know how they were going to really come out of the gates after that Bieber game when they got shut out. I mean, the boys were ready in the first inning. They had 11 guys come up to the plate, scored 6. And how about Mancada driving that first run in the game on a hard hit ball right up the middle? What I actually really enjoyed about offensive wise part of the game was we know before the game, Tony said that Vaughn was going to get more playing time this week, back-to-back nights for tonight and tomorrow. And he just came right off the bench from the past couple of days, and you can tell with that double down the third baseline, during the game, and just his contact in general tonight and his plate discipline, that he's coming around, and that's what we love to see. And hopefully that convinces Tony to, keep giving him more playing time. And with TA coming up, that means someone's got to be sent down. If that's going to be Lamb or Williams or whomever, this is the time.
Neither's got a hit, so I don't care who it is.
Yeah, I think Vaughn Mercedes needs to be the trend going forward, and in our middle lineup at least, because they're both having really great at bats.
Yeah, and this offense is starting to wake up now. Is this the game that gets it all going, guys? I mean, how are you feeling after seeing this lineup today? This is my favorite lineup I've seen on paper. Vinny, do you agree with that, or what is your analysis of this lineup tonight?
Yeah, I would bat Yoan second. This game he was fine, but it just seems to me that in the RBI situations, I'm less confident than him being the get on base guy first. But I think there are guys with more power that are probably better suited for the 4 spot. But I saw a comment earlier in the chat about Yermin having that plate appearance yesterday against Bieber. He only had the 1 plate appearance, and it was one of the 3 or 4 best plate appearances of the entire game. So it makes you wonder why he wasn't in the lineup to begin with. I understand matchups and analytics and all that stuff, and I'm for it. But at what point do you just look at him and go, that guy, he can hit? And what was he batting 5th tonight? So you can bump him up to 4 and put Yoan second. But then it's a good problem to have when you do it with all the 9 best bats, like we mentioned before. But when you don't do that and you have guys like Lamb and Williams in the lineup, it definitely hurts your chance to win, I would say.
Yeah, we got a great point here from Larry or Laro in the chat room. Can you imagine this lineup once we get Eloy? I mean, you got to imagine he's got to be chomping at the bit, sitting at home watching this. I'm sure there will be a FaceTime session from the locker room tonight. Eloy's probably, laughing his ass off, just enjoying himself right now. But I know we all can't wait for him to come back. But gentlemen, let's get back more to the man of the hour. Let's talk a little bit about Carlos. What did you guys see from him over the course of the night that just had him wheeling and dealing? I mean, obviously you got that offense in the beginning to kind of give you that pad. I think that's something Carlos hasn't had a lot of in his career. He hasn't had that comfort level when you start in the game, not a lot of run support. And, he's fully healthy. He gets out there. The Indians were swinging at everything tonight. Let's be honest. Chris Gonzalez, what is your analysis of the way Carlos came out of the gate tonight? And what do you think was the key to success all night long?
Yeah, for this question, I'm going to take it back a little bit because Chuck Garfien, guest that we recently had, in our show.
Sure.
He just had a podcast, a week or 2 ago, where he had Carlos Rodon on with him. And by the end of the podcast, the overall theme was Carlos has told Chuck many times, I would always tell you I'm going to do this, but I was never able to execute. Now he's able to execute in the beginning of the season, and this is huge for confidence for Carlos going forward. And I just absolutely love to see that he's a first-round draft pick by us, and now he's finally turning those gears and really showing us what he can do. And it was brought up by Steve Stone in the broadcast that what he's really liked the most is Carlos developing that 4th pitch and his arsenal and having the command of it. And early on, it did look like the curveball he was leaving it up there a little bit. I just imagine as he gets more confidence with the pitch, he'll start grooving it a little bit better. And that'll be dangerous to go with his slider. And even the changeup that he does, that was really nice too. So he was just on top of his game tonight, just like he has been for his first couple starts this season. To go along with his pace in Seattle. We got to see how he continues to develop over the course of the longevity of the season, because we know of his injury issues, but hopefully he stays out of the way of that and he just keeps on grinding and giving us a great season out of the 5-hole, eats up innings, and that should pay us dividends as he just did tonight with saving the bullpen.
He did, and he couldn't have done it at a better time, guys, because I'm sure you guys all saw the news today. Dylan Cease got put on the IL experiencing COVID-like symptoms. They're not taking any chances there, especially saving the bullpen on a day like today where you could potentially, now that you didn't need to use the bullpen, you could potentially start Michael Kopech later this week. Vinny, do you think that's a real possibility, or do you think they're going to go to another guy?
I would try it if I was in charge, but I'm just a huge Michael Kopech guy, and I love watching him pitch.
Yeah, me too.
So I think it's possible, like I said. If they didn't go in that direction, I wouldn't be too surprised. You saw them do bullpen games last year a couple times. This team's wildly different than they were last year. And Tony handles things a lot differently than Ricky Renneria did.
Yes.
They did call up Birdie in Cease's place. So you never know if they give Matt Foster the start and let him roll a couple innings, or Garrett Crochet even be the opener. I think you could see a combination of those three guys to
Sure.
one game while Cease is out. We don't know. We hope he's okay. I hope he has a cold. So it would be a tough loss to lose Cease, I think, because they did preserve the bullpen twice with an off day in the span of the last 5 or 6 days. Lynn had the complete game, Rodon had a complete game, and an off day, and a rainout. So there's been a lot of bullpen rest. So if there was a time to have a somewhat forced bullpen day, I think now is an okay time due to all the rest that they've had over the last week or so. So,
yeah, I'm with you there. I'd like to see Kopech get a start, but I agree with you. It doesn't seem like the way Tony's running this team that's actually going to happen. But we'll have to wait and see on that respect. But guys, one thing I do want to bring up is Carlos was absolutely dominant tonight. How much credit should we give to Ethan Katz for the work that he's done with Carlos here? I mean, do you think he's done so much. Carlos looks like a different pitcher this year. I know you can say that's partially because of his health, but Gonzo, you touched on it a little bit with adding the new pitch, but Zim, how much do you think Ethan Katz is having an effect specifically on Carlos Rodon?
Well, we all talked about it in the offseason. We talked about the way that Rodon's looked completely different ever since coming back to this team this year, the way that he was more or less dominant in the preseason during spring training. He pitched, 9 innings and allowed no hits and had 6 strikeouts, pretty similar to his line tonight.
7 strikeouts tonight.
Yeah. Like, if I recall, his spring training line was pretty similar to tonight. And if that doesn't scream consistency, I mean, I don't know what does. And that was the number one thing that we talked about on this podcast specifically before the season started, was the consistency that we were going to see out of Rodon this season. That was the thing that I at least mentioned he needed to keep up throughout the season. He needed confidence and he needed consistency. Well, I don't know if we saw anything better to demonstrate those two things than what we saw tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's amazing the growth that I've seen, and hopefully he can maintain it throughout the year and stay healthy. That's always been Carlos's main problem. But to see these guys celebrating, like I'm seeing on my TV in the background, Carlos is as happy as he can be. Look at his line for tonight, guys. 9 innings pitched, 1 really stupid hit by pitch, which we'll do a pitch by pitch breakdown here in just a minute. But 7 strikeouts, 10 ground-out/flyouts, only on 114 pitches, 75 of which were strikes, and 19 swing and misses. His max velocity just under 99 miles an hour, and what is the 20th no-hitter in White Sox history. Man, oh man. And that graphic, of course, courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago, but unbelievable performance by Carlos. Gonzo, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the pitch by pitch and this Perez at bat, because that's what everyone's going to be talking about all night. We talked a little bit at the top of the show, but what do you have to bring to the table about this that you want to spotlight?
Yeah, sure. Let's just do a little breakdown here. This is actually, I didn't even realize this after I'm looking at it now, but Rodon actually, with his first 3 pitches of that at bat were fastballs high in the zone, basically dead on the zone, 95, 97, 97. First 2 were strikes. The third one was a foul ball. And on that 4th pitch is when he went to that slider down and in. back at reflecting on what Zim said, I do agree it was the right pitch to selection. But I think my only disagreement is the variation of it, and that comes with the veteran catcher of what he really wants in that situation. You do want to wipe out slider in that situation, which I fully agree with. But again, you have to know in that circumstances what you're facing. You got perfect game on the line. I don't want a wipe out slider down and in. I would rather go to that curveball that has more vertical movement and not swiping movement to get closer to better, more vertical movement up and down in the dirt, so it's not even near him. If you're going to throw that slider, that's just a situation where Rodon has to trust Collins and put it down right on the plate, and so that's just execution, I guess, in the end.
I'm looking at it, and you're talking about that at bat, and if I remember right, I'm sorry, we just saw the count and I lost it, but I'm pretty sure it was a 1-2 count. I think one of those fastballs kind of got away from him, if I remember right. And so I think this was just a case of him being really amped up for the situation and his release point being a little off because it was an 0-2 count, excuse me. So those pitchers were up in the zone for sure.
It was 2 strikes swinging. And then
I must be thinking of the at-bat prior to that where he had one get away from him up top about 97, 98. But regardless, when you get amped up like that, the release point gets away from you. You can see the catcher's trusting him to hit his spot when he's setting up. He's set up more on the inside part of the plate, but he's not looking for something that far inside. And it's unfortunate. At the same time, I still stand by what I said at the beginning of the podcast. So.
Now look at that call out by that one Mamba. Both second string catchers caught no hitters.
Yasmani Grandal has been on the bench for 2 no hitters since he joined this team.
And it's funny. And he's the best catcher on the team. Well, arguably right now, obviously you don't see Yermin doing much catching these days, but I don't think you will either. But he's going to be the bat behind the scenes right now. But gentlemen, I know we're trying to keep this short and sweet with the emergency press conference, but before we get on out of here, chat room, before we close out, any last-minute things, chat room? What are you excited about? What did you love during the game? Let us know in the chat room. We'll feature it here before we get out of here, but let's do a quick wraparound. Zim, we'll go ahead and start with you, buddy.
Look, I almost turned this game off after the first inning. I only turned it on right around the Mercedes moonshot. And I saw that they had batted through the lineup and just about turned it off and sent you guys a text that said, hey, shoot me a message if anything else interesting happens. I'm going to eat dinner and chill out for the night, but decided to keep the game on in the background and wound up getting to witness history. So that was pretty cool. I'm still not happy about Perez. I really think he deserves to get plunked once, twice, 3 times, 4 times tomorrow, but that's just my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own. I'm, I guess, just a old school guy when it comes to stuff like that. Excuse me.
Old school like our manager. How about Chris Gonzalez? What final thoughts before we get out of here?
The only thing I want to say about what Zim just said is we can be really emotional in this moment, but tomorrow's a really key game in this series that we need to win. And as much as I want to plunk him now, I want to win that game, win the series. These are crucial games, and I'll come back to getting revenge later in the season. But it's a key game tomorrow that we need to get. As far as this game goes, what I really enjoy seeing Rodon is his control. He struggled with it, in his career, and it reflects in his whip. And now that you see that whip going down, the control is obviously there. This is just fantastic to see, and it's gonna keep giving La Russa good problems to have when your starting rotation is doing well as it is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. And let's toss it over to Vinny Parisi, who topped in to join us. Obviously you can hear him talk Blackhawks on the Barroom, and he talks, White Sox all day long on his personal account as well. Vinny, final thoughts on this game?
Well, for one, it was really good to see them get to Plesac early. I think that was key to this game because sometimes when you get a huge lead, it really helps out a pitcher who tries to go for an accomplishment like this. So it kind of took Cleveland out of the game quickly. Plesac was out of the game after the first inning. That's one of the best pitchers in the league. Cleveland breeds pitchers like nobody else. And following up a game like Bieber had yesterday, it was just so nice to see them actually get to this guy. And then for Carlos Rodon, just where he came from after, to start this season, he started off spring training real good. He won the job over Reynaldo Lopez as the number 5 guy after being cut in December, only to be re-signed for half the money later in the offseason. Lots of injury, lots of not living up to being drafted 3rd overall. The talent's there when a guy's got the pedigree to be drafted that high. It's just a matter of whether or not you can get that arm talent to this level like we saw tonight. And it worked, and it was so great to see. And part of me, Lance Lynn is one of the most competitive pitchers I've ever seen. Part of me wonders if what happened tonight kind of makes him fired up and ready to go for tomorrow to try and take the series. I got a good feeling about Lance Lynn tomorrow as a result of this game and the offense. Hopefully they're feeling good. I like the idea of this team tomorrow. So it's been a fun series. They started this Angel series really screwing with their record because they won the series against the Mariners. They split with the Royals, and it was only a 2-game series. I like to think they would have won the 3rd game. And now they're at minimum splitting this series. So really, other than that Angel series, it's been 500 baseball, and the team is probably playing about as bad as the roster could up to this point. And that's saying something because they're 5-5. So, or no, 6-6. Sorry, 6-6.
Yeah, now we're back to 500.
Yeah, my bad. But regardless, they're 500, and they had that bad series to start with the Angels, and we know they could be so much better. So it's just exciting times. Hopefully, this is kind of that spark. Last year, the Giolito thing kind of sparked them a lot, and then the 4 home run game. Hopefully, this is just another one in the long line of things that get this team going.
Timmy comes back tomorrow too.
True that.
Yeah, Tim Anderson back tomorrow. And Vinny, before you wrap, you will let everyone listening and watching know. You can also see your work on Fansided, Sox Showdown, the Windy City FS, and of course here on the Barroom doing Bar Down Blackhawks with your brother. So before you get out of here, where can people follow you on social media?
Yeah, you can follow my personal account at Vinny Parisi. I tweet about hockey, baseball. We got it all going on there. And then my work account at Sox Showdown for all my White Sox work, and at the Windy City FS for the Windy City, the fan-sided site. It's Chicago sports all around, so we got it all going on. Me and Joey have been working pretty hard on this Bar Down podcast so far. We got a lot of good content and some fun stuff planned for the future. So it's been an exciting time, and I couldn't thank you guys enough for including me on this special night for the White Sox.
Hey, it's no problem at all, man. We love talking White Sox with people that love talking White Sox. And speaking of people that like talking White Sox, we got some tweets to read through here. Look at it all over the place. Carmen DeFalco, truly awesome to watch considering everything he's been through. Congrats, Carlos. #White Sox. Mike Jansen, the first words out of Carlos Rodon's mouth to Jason Benetti and Steve Stone in his on-field interview after throwing a no-hitter. What's up? Such a cool guy. Congrats, Chris. White Sox changed the game. Of course, Chris Bowden, got to be happy for Rodon. Perseverance pays off in historic fashion. #White Sox. And Owen Schoenfield, no-hitters. White Sox no-hitters this century. Burley in 2007. Mark Burley in 2009, which was the perfect game. Philip Humber in 2012, which was another perfect game. Lucas Giolito in 2020. And, of course, Carlos Rodon, 2021. This is simply unreal. And speaking of, I got my commemorative ticket from the Giolito no-hitter last year. I'm sure that the White Sox will probably do something very similar for this one, except there were people in attendance, so I don't know how they would do it. But, yeah, you were able to order a ticket even though there was no fans. It's got the seat number and everything, the section I'm usually in 154 and 155. So this is something cool. I'm going to get framed. Hopefully they do something like this for our buddy Carlos, because that'd be pretty amazing. But we talked through a lot of stuff, guys. Historic night for Carlos. White Sox get the win 8-0, back to 500, 6-6. We appreciate everyone for joining us for this Barroom special report on Carlos's no-no, which should have been a no-hitter. But with that said, we'll see you guys next time. And let's go White Sox. Well, we'll be back on Monday night with South Burbs Hitmen. A little breaking news here. We will have the owners of Grandstand joining us on that show. So we'll be talking some merchandise, best-selling jerseys, and all kinds of fun stuff. And everyone enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you guys on Monday, and let's get some more wins this weekend. Go White Sox.
Go Sox.
Go Sox.
Go boys.
Thank you.